Good day, everyone. Welcome back to the Hybrid Fitness Media YouTube channel. And today I have an episode with Ryan Kent. Ryan has not been on the show in a while, so we have a lot of catching up to do. And we dug in and found out what he's been up to, how he's coming back since his disappointing finish in Nice. Don't call it a comeback or call it a comeback. You're going to find out. Plus, we have a sneak peek at Amsterdam next week and who he thinks might take it down. It also goes sideways a few times because, hey, it's an interview with me and that's how things go. Before we dive in, I want to let you know about today's sponsor, RAM Fit. I'm a huge fan of working out in my backyard. Look at me, get fit right in front of your eyes. Go to RAM Fit right now. These are some of the best tools I've ever worked with. It's good for you. It's good for the planet. Check out ramfit.com. Without further ado, let us check out this interview with Ryan Kent. Away we go.
Remember Spartan races, Ryan?
Listen, I just saw the schedule come out for next year. Are we on OCR podcast?
This is hybrid, but you and I go back, and that's the beauty of hybrid. Most of us go back.
So I saw that the first two races next year are in Jacksonville and Charlotte.
Let's go.
Within driving distance.
They've never done Charlotte for a national series.
And I love Porter. I think it's like Porter Farms or something like that.
Yeah, I've been there.
It's a great venue. So now I'm like, hey, we'll see what happens. And then with DEKA Atlas coming, it's like maybe I'll start dipping my toes back into the Spartan scene. We'll see.
Well, I don't think they're going to have money for the races. I think they're going to have money for the series. So if it's worth it to do that, you only have to fly once, right? To either Big Bear or Utah, right?
So you got to do three of the four.
Do those two local ones. Yeah, I don't think they're bringing money back yet, but for the series they will. But not a lot, maybe $5,000. But if it helps you, if it helps your sponsors,
sure.
Why not?
Or just like nostalgic reasons, just wanting to go back.
Go give Gawiski and Woodsy a call and say, let's roll it.
Let's do
Porter
it.
Farms.
Like old times, baby.
Did you do the Tougher Mudder in Carolina?
I did not.
Why didn't you?
Well, that's like an 8-hour event, right?
No. Remember when Tough Mudder did the first wave of the day? Hunter did it. Hobie did it. Woodsy did it. I think Albin showed up to one. Atkins did it. You come on, dude.
This might have been before. This had to be before my time.
No, it's not though.
Right?
It was like 17, 18. You don't remember this?
I don't.
There was definitely a regional championship. So it was when Tough Mudder said we're going to do the first wave of the day is going to be called Tougher Mudder. We're going to add timing, and most people like just would do it to do the first race of the day. But in a few of these cities, it was big payouts. I can't believe you don't remember this.
I don't.
And there was a Carolina
at the time, I was living out in Mammoth, California, so it would have been.
But there was a California one. I think that was the one. The California one was where Hobie and Hunter did rock paper scissors at the finish. Do you remember this?
I do remember that one actually.
Yeah. So why did you slide down for Mammoth?
I don't know. I think I was all Spartan at the time, man. I was one of Spartan's poster boys. I was very loyal to that company.
All right. Well, you could have made a few bucks. It was a good time.
Could have been. I know.
I really don't know. Like, speaking of Hunter, like, where was he? Like, he won those races, but like he never won like other than that 2013 year in Vermont, like he never podiumed at Spartan World Championships, did he?
No, he I think that's one of the things that on his very few things that he did not accomplish, I think that was one of them. Never being on a podium.
Because he won those. I think he won all of those except for he won those. And again, you don't really think of him like you don't think of him as like faster than, than a lot of those guys.
No, but he was on a tear. I think it was either 16 or 17. I mean, it was like Palmerton and Asheville and Monterey. I mean, he was on a roll there, right? 2016, 2017, but just never could put it together on that Tahoe course.
Yeah. So let's talk about hybrid. I saw a recent clip and you talked about losing your mojo a little bit and losing your dad, which I totally relate to. I lost my dad in November 2020. I think about him every day. I hate to say this, but just to be real, I lost my mom like a month ago, and I think about my dad more still just because of how close I was to him. We got a picture of my dad on my fridge. I think about him every day. So I get it, man. Like, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he is, I've said this many times, he's the reason that I am an athlete. You know, I looked up to my dad because of what he did when I was a kid. You know, he was competing in 5Ks and half marathons and marathons. And I was his little boy who would go watch him race. And, you know, eventually he put me into like the 1 mile fun runs. And then I started doing 5Ks and then 10Ks and then half marathons at a very young age. I mean, I'm 7 years old and my dad's running half marathons with me. And then watching him, or not watching him because this was before I was born, but he was a high level bodybuilder and world champion arm wrestler. So like I idolized my dad, and sports was something that we shared on a very deep level. And he used to come until he started getting sick. He would come to all my races. He would fly across the country. Didn't matter where. I mean, he was my biggest supporter, and that was a bond that that I'm so grateful that him and I had. So yeah, like losing him was like it was like a piece of me died along with that, and I'm in a much better place than I was, you know, 4 to 5 months ago, like night and day difference, and yeah, I mean, I'm still picking up the pieces from that, but I'm in a good place now. I'm very optimistic about the future. I mean, there have been times in training over the last month or two where, you know, I'll be in a workout and it starts to suck and, you know, I'm starting to fade a little bit. And rather than having the strength to lean into that and try to overcome it, I give into it just like I did at the World Championships where I just felt like I had no spirit about me, no fight in me. And when you're trying to compete on a world stage, like you have to be mind, body, and spirit aligned. Like you can't have two of the three. You need all three things. And, you know, really, I only had the physical attributes towards the end of last season. I was physically fit, but mentally I was defeated, spiritually defeated, you know, and now it's like I have to build back up my mental toughness, you know, just like I do my physical, you know, and it's taken
Do you
some
know that's
time.
what you said to me? Do you know that's what you said to me in 2016? It was the first time all the Ryans were together. Like we were like, oh, look, Ryan. I said, which Ryan are you? And you said the toughest.
And I believe that. I do believe that. You know, I pride myself on I'm human at the end of the day, and I'm gonna fail. And I'm gonna have moments where people are gonna be like, dang, dude, like what happened to Kent? But the point is I've always bounced back. I've always bounced back when I've been down. You know, I've been knocked down more times than I would like to count. But again, I'm too stubborn to stay there. That's one of my characteristics, one of my traits that is a gift and a curse. And in this particular scenario, it's a gift because I refuse to stay down. I'm sure there's been people that are like, is he going to retire? Like, what's he going to do? It's like, all right, motherfucker. Like, we'll see. We'll see come Las Vegas, come February 1st.
When you talk about, I love it, cutting a wrestling promo. When you talk about, when you just said how tough you have to be for this thing on the world level, it just kind of hit me like how fucking good this sport is getting, right? And that the top. So is it recency bias or is Hyrox just fucking tougher or like the level you have to be at more than you'd ever have to be as a Spartan?
Yeah. The level of talent and ability is I think it's higher than I probably anticipated it being this
Any of
early
us, I
on.
think. Any of
Yeah.
us, I think, because we just know that path of OCR, and there's a couple good guys, there's a couple good girls, they ebb and
Right.
flow, and then now it's like, holy shit! Like last year's Worlds was like, who's gonna take it?
And you know, I have my hierarchy on like where I think everybody is. But now when you look at a list, like even when I was looking at the list for the start list for Amsterdam, I was looking at the guys on the list and I'm like, you know, like I could definitely go. I'm not in the best shape right now. I'm fit, but I'm looking at, I'm like, I could go win that race right now. But if I'm off just a little bit, I could get 5th or 6th in that race.
Right.
And that's something that I've never really said before. You know, it's like, oh, you know, if I don't win, maybe I'll get 2nd or 3rd. And now it's like, well, no, like there is a chance you could be middle of the pack if you don't show up on your A game. And I think that's great, man, because it keeps you locked in during training. You can't get complacent. You've always got to continue to try to find ways to get better in this sport because other people are getting better, you know? So,
But I think that's why the mental game has to be there. And I mean, it's
you have to
always
have a
true.
reason to fight, man. You got to have a reason to fight. If you don't have a reason to fight, you're gonna, it's just not gonna go well, man. Like there's gonna come a point in almost every race where you have to make a decision if you are going to give in to this feeling that you are experiencing, or if you're gonna say, not today, not today. And you know, if you, from in my situation, I gave into that pain and suffering in the last couple races because I didn't have the mental strength to deal with it. So trying to build that back up.
So for you, you got to learn a new muscle, it sounds like, right? Because it's like talk to everybody before World's Toughest. I'm going to get 50. I'm going to get 75. And it's like, okay, oh, dude, but then this happened, right? So what I like to talk to people about, like if I'm supporting you, I'll be like, hey man, what do I say to you when you want to quit? So
Right.
if I see you in that place, what do I say to you when you want to quit?
Oh man. Probably something to do with the people in my life, in my childhood, that said that I would never amount to anything, that I was lazy. I was always the kid that they said, man, you've got a ton of potential, but like you can't get your shit together, man.
They said
You
that
know?
about me
Like,
too.
and like I had teachers say that I was dumb and stupid, and like even my parents, and I love my parents. You know, I love them to death, but like they were just on me a ton about just like stuff that I felt like didn't matter when I was a kid. I'm like, I'm not lazy. I just don't have something I'm passionate about to devote the energy that you're expecting me to do. Like my dad would want me to come work in his construction business when I was a teenager. And it's like, fuck no. Like I do not want to go. It's not that I don't want to work. It's that I don't I don't like this. So I'm not going to go do it. It wasn't until I found something that I was good at that I really, you know, started to see what I could become. You know, and I think that's the case for a lot of people out there. They don't have something that they're passionate about, so it's hard for them to invest all of themselves into it. But once you find something you like, you know, then you know the sky's the limit. But I think most people end up never finding that thing that gets them up in the morning.
So
You know?
what were you doing physically before Spartan? Were you
Physically
racing?
before Spartan, I was
Like, were you doing
just
5Ks or anything?
yeah, I was doing like some yeah, yep, exactly. So I was doing like 5K road races um or just like being in the gym doing bro stuff. Bicep curls, bench press. Cuz after college, I mean, I went through a few years where I wasn't doing much of anything. And then, you know, eventually, if you love something, it finds its way back around. And after a few years, it was like, man, I kind of miss putting like a goal on the calendar, you know, and having something to train for. So then I started running again, started weightlifting, and then I remember I was at a bar one night with a childhood buddy. I was back home in Virginia, and he was like, "Hey, have you heard of this thing called Spartan Race?" And I'm like, "No, what is that?" So we're at a bar, and he pulls up YouTube Spartan Race, and he's like, "Dude, I think you could be very good at this. You know, like you're strong, you need to have endurance." And he's like, "The Virginia Spartan Race is in 2 weeks." And I'm like, "I'm doing it. I'm
What
gonna
year was
win."
that? What
This
year was
was
that?
2014. That was the
Wow.
one that was at Winter Green Mountain. So 2 weeks before that, I found out what Spartan Race was. I
Right.
started doing all the research on, you know, I found out about Hunter, I found out about Matt. And I was all in from that point on. I mean, I was like, this is for me, you know. And then long story short, you know, I found hybrid, which wasn't even a thing then. And turns out that was really what was for me. But I still love the raw, just very what's the word I'm looking for? Like not caveman, but come on, help me out here.
Neanderthal.
Like no, it's just like primal.
Yeah.
Something primal about the Spartan racing that I really loved. And I do miss that. I do miss that piece.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing about outside and that people talk about and give lip service to, it's more unconscious than anything, right? Like I still don't go to the gym. I work out with rams in my backyard just because I just like it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And also because it's just easier for me. Like if I have to drive to the gym, I probably won't. So I can just go to my backyard and put my shoes on and run. But yeah, it's like people say like why you should like walk outside barefoot. Like there's definitely something like DNA, unconscious lizard brain about being in the dirt. And yeah, like that's why people still 8,000 people show up for these fucking trifecta weekends because
For sure.
it's not just for the nice pick. It's because there's something about it. It's funny when you think about those old Spartan days. I know we're on the hybrid show, but we do have a very massive audience that came from OCR. Like back then, like the carriers were heavier. Is that am I not mistaken in saying that? Like you had to
No,
fill
they were
your own
definitely heavier.
buckets. I think just filling your own bucket alone is such a game changer rather
Yes.
than here's a lid, put it on your shoulder.
Yes.
Filling it with rocks and holding it in front of you and praying you didn't spill it because you'd have to do it
Yes.
again.
100%. Different. That obstacle changed big time when they put the lids on and you no longer had to fill it up, and then you no longer had to keep it in front of you, you know? So, I mean, dude, my lower back on some of those carries would be on fire, you know? And your grip's gone and you're literally holding onto this bucket with your fingernails trying not to drop it, you know? And now you can just toss that bad boy on your shoulders. It's basically another sandbag carry. When they did that, it took away just that primal thing about it, like filling this bucket up with rocks and then carrying it up a ski slope and trying to make it back down without spilling any of it. I mean, it's amazing. I love it. If Spartan racing was still that way, the way that it was, and I heard that this latest Seattle course was very much reminiscent of like old school Spartan racing. And if it can bring some of that back into the sport, like who knows, man? I might pop back in there.
We're definitely going to get to February 1st, but I do want to talk to you about your skipping DEKA World Champs this year. Last year, I know it's the last time I saw you.
You didn't put me in that post, by the way.
Which
on the
one?
people that lined up last year.
I know because I literally forgot. I was like looking up. They didn't put you in the. What I did was I just looked at the lineup.
I DNF'd.
Yeah, I know. You and Woodsy, you and Rich both did. And because it wasn't listed as DNF, I just copied and pasted. Here's last year's, here's this year's. Anyway, I literally forgot it when Rich wrote it. I was like, oh my God, I literally forgot you guys were there. And then what about, did you do the other distances? I can't even remember now. It seems like forever ago.
Mile and strong. No, I haven't done any. And I thought about it. Trust me, I thought about it really hard because there's a piece of me that still wants to be the first person to win a world title in every single event, from DEKA Strong, DEKA Mile, DEKA Fit, and Hyrox. And I have Strong and Mile, and this would have been the year to go get the Fit because the competition is not even close to what it was in 2022. But at the end of the day, it came down to doing what's best for my mental well-being and just my future in sport. And I felt like if I were to force something too soon and maybe it doesn't go well and then my confidence gets shaken again, it's like then I'm back at square one. So I'm just going to focus on Hyrox for right now. And yeah, that's pretty much what it came down to. I thought about going to that last one in Florida, but I was just like, no, it's just too soon. Like, I don't want to risk anything. Things are going so well right now. I don't want to mess with anything. So I just said, hey, we're going to stick to the plan that we set for this year, and we're going to see it through.
Yeah, I think that can also be a good motivation for you as well, right? Like when it comes to Hyrox, like there's no fucking quitting now because all my eggs are in the Hyrox basket.
Absolutely. For sure.
So when the majors were announced, first of all, did you know? Had you talked to anybody? Did you know what was going to happen, or did you not know?
Which like where?
Like we were all waiting. We were all waiting for the Hyrox majors to be announced.
Yeah, I didn't know where they were going to be or when.
So
No.
how quickly did you decide what your year was going to look like?
Well, when I was on the flight home from Nice, I knew that I was in one of those situations where I needed to take not just one step back, but I needed to take like 2 steps back in order to make 3-4 steps forward.
Right.
So I wrote out like basically a 6-month plan where something that you would do for like a big, gigantic like marathon prep. I was like, I need to strip myself down. Basically what the show, The Selection did for me, I needed to do that again to myself. I needed to strip myself down to nothing, and then I need to build myself back up. And I felt like the only way that I could do that is if I wrote out this really long training plan that allowed my physical abilities to slowly get back to where they were, along with the mental strength. And ultimately that's where you end up getting your mental strength and your mental stamina, is through putting yourself through hard situations in training. So to allow myself, 6 months to do that, it's really nice knowing that I don't have any pressure to like race right now, thankfully, because I won the Chicago Major last year, so I'm not in any rush. I can just focus on myself, focus on getting back to who I am and like what I do. And it's been good, man. I can't believe it. I'm in week 16 right now of like, I think week 33 will take me to Las Vegas. So I'm about halfway through this extremely long training block, but I'm taking everything really, really smart. I'm increasing my volume at a safe rate. I think I'm as strong as I've ever been right now. So the goal for this year is to be bigger, stronger, and faster. And normally it's if I want to get faster, I need to lose weight, but I'm actually trying to do the opposite. I want to be 5 to 7 pounds heavier, but still be lean and extremely fast. I played around with the weight thing too much, and I think that it's not worth it. Like trying to lose 5 to 10 pounds to try to make your 1K splits faster, because you end up losing power and strength on everything else. And sure, it might help, you know, in the first couple runs, but then you just run out of steam. And that's kind of what happened to me last year. It seems to be what happened with Hunter a little bit. Obviously I had my own mental things going on, but from a physical standpoint, I tried to do something that I didn't really need to do. And now I'm just like kind of going the other direction. It's gonna be.
Do you ever watch Selection for inspiration?
You know, when we had our last hybrid camp in Colorado that we do during the summer months, we're all hanging out at the house and we get to talking about it, just amongst the group, the campers that were there. And they're like, hey, like, where can we watch this thing? So one of the nights we were all just hanging out and we threw it on Luca's TV and we watched, I think, the first 3 episodes of the show.
Should watch the last
just
3
as a group. And it totally, I know, but it totally brought back the memories. And I was like, dang, dude, like, it was kind of nice because I needed a good reminder that, hey, like, I can do hard things, you know? But no, I haven't just like sat down by myself and watched them all, but every now and again, something will pop up where it kind of gets brought up again. And sometimes I forget, man. I'm like, did I really do that? Like, but it's like, that was 8 years ago now, which is,
I know, a really long time ago.
crazy. Yeah.
What about the old Spartan ones? Because now the old NBC shows are all on YouTube. You ever see those?
I did pull up the West Virginia race the year that I came in second to Killian, and I should have won that race, but I got stuck at the tire flip. I don't know if you remember this.
I remember a tire flip in Florida one year that nobody could do.
Yeah. This was like the ground was really wet. I had a massive lead, Matt. I came out of the woods, and I was so aggressive through this descent through the trees. I mean, I'm leaping over like stumps and everyone's kind of tiptoeing down the mountain and I'm just hauling ass. I remember telling Woodsy, I'm like, Woodsy, they don't think we can descend. Like Killian and all those, they don't think we can descend. Let's fucking go. And I'm running down this hill within the trees, because, you know, there's no path. You're just making your own path through the woods. And I'm like a little kid just running through out of that section with about a minute plus lead. And I think it would have continued to grow, you know, but then I lost a bunch of time at the tire flip and ended up getting second in that race. But I did pull that up. I pulled that one up maybe a week or 2 ago just to kind of watch the highlights. And because my dad was at the finish line of that one. So I remember him being like really proud after that race. We shared a big hug.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which they all run together those years for me. Do you know off the top of your head, like, which series races you won?
Say that again. You froze.
You just froze. I said they all run together for me. Like, I think 2016 through 2019 is just a blur. Do you know which races you won? Which series races you won?
So the only series race that I've ever won is Seattle in 2018. But I've been on the podium in National Series races, I think 6 or 7 times.
Right.
That 2018 season I was on a tear, because the one before Seattle, I came in second at San Jose. And then I don't know, maybe Jacksonville was that year. I got on the podium there too. Yeah, the years kind of tie in a little bit.
So this weekend, Toronto, you said you were looking at the board. Do you want to make some predictions?
I don't know who's going to Toronto. I think.
Amsterdam. Sorry, Amsterdam. You were going to say, what were you going to say?
Although we
should, is going?
You know, because Atkins is going to show up.
Yeah.
I think he's somebody who could do well if he wanted to put the time in. He would have to work extremely hard, though, to get down to the level where this sport is at right now. But in terms of Amsterdam, let's see. Can you pull that list up?
Yeah,
you want to pull it up?
Sure.
You have the start list?
Well, they posted it on Hyrox World. Oh wait, here's news. This is interesting. This is
You got?
news. Hang on. Present.
Did you make
This
the
is
start list?
adaptive
Sure.
divisions. The stage is set. Introduce the official rules for adaptive divisions and qualification for the 24-25 World Championships in Chicago. Maybe this is what's happening on Thursday. Remember they were talking about everyone's wondering what,
yeah. I'm not, man. That's pretty cool that they're doing that.
yeah, I mean, people obviously have shown up in wheelchairs and whatnot before, but this is definitely pretty exciting. Give me a heads up, Hyrox, next time on these, and I will, could do a
Sometimes
better
I
job
feel
of
very like ignorant, because I don't keep up with a lot of the stuff going on in hybrid sports a lot of the time. Like other people have to fill me in on like what's going on because I'm just out
Well,
here
I can,
living my life.
no, but I can understand for you guys if you don't want it all in your face all the time. Like I get it. Like I could see why you'd like, listen, I'm unfollowing everything or I'm not going to look. All right, so here we go. So we've got Ronco, Dylan, JK, Lucas. It says Ryland,
Yep.
but is he going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tverdick, Wynn, Bo Wills, Jake Dearden, Voisin, Sadiq. That should be exciting because we haven't seen Sadiq since what was that major he was at? Anaheim or that last cancer qualifier? Afan, Tim, Yannick,
Yeah.
and Tobias. So this is pretty
Yeah.
stacked field.
What do you want? You want top 3?
Just, off the top of your head, what are your first thoughts? And we can talk about the women too if you want.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you can't go against the champ until he gets beaten. I'm somebody who I've been in this situation myself where, Hunter won Worlds and then we're racing against each other and people are picking Hunter to win. And it's rightfully so because you're the champ until proven otherwise. So I got to go with Alex to win that race. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means because it's early season. I can't imagine everyone's going to be in like peak physical condition right now. If they are, man, that's risky because it's a long season. So I think Alex wins, but I don't think he wins by a ton. From what I'm seeing, if I'm being honest, I like the list the way that it is written right here. I like Alex. I like Alex, then Dylan, and then James, man.
But what if Ryland shows up healthy and goes on a fucking tear? Because we've only seen him
possible.
Like once.
It's definitely possible, especially with what we've seen from him in DEKA Mile and DEKA Strong that he has recently done. It seems like if he gets a day where everything is clicking and he's not having the issues that he's been having, he could 100% win this race. But I'm saying the odds are stacked a little bit against him, I think. And Dylan, I'm in a group chat with Dylan. I know how fit he is almost every month of the year. So I like Dylan to pull the upset over James Kelly. But Kelly's been consistent racing through the Australia races. So I like Alex, Dylan, and then James for the podium here.
Yeah, I think it's hard to argue against this.
For the men.
I think it's hard to argue against that, although I'd love to see Ryland fuck shit up. I really would, just because we kind of lost that opportunity last year. Just because he doesn't care. You know what I mean? He's just willing to do whatever. And I just think we need stuff like that.
Who is that? You broke up. Who
Sorry, Ryland. Like Ryland's willing to go out as hot as he wants to. And so I think we need that. Like who would knows if he could have hung with Ronco last year? Like we'll just, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Because Ronco looks so good, but we just don't know.
Yep.
And then you want to talk about the women?
Sure.
I'm sure you're going to pick your gal first.
Yep.
And it would be hard to vote against it. But I think the gap is certainly closed, right? Somewhat between Meg, Lauren, and Vivian. And I think
Lauren's been doing these. She does this where she pops in like some road races and
she did a Spartan and won a Spartan.
Yeah. I mean, her engine is remarkable. But again, like you said, you're not. I'm not picking you to beat the champ until I see it firsthand. And, you know, somebody who talks to Megan on the regular and knowing how fit she is and how dialed in she is literally all the time. Like she is like the Terminator. I'm not picking anyone to beat her. If she just makes the decision that she's winning that race, no one's going to beat her. And then Lauren, the gap of them two over the field is, I mean, Lauren could have a bad race and still get second. We've seen that many, many times. And so Megan, Lauren, and then, you know, I'd love to pick Vivian, but I don't know. So I would love to see Viv here in third, but I think I'm going to go with Linda Meyer for third place for the women. Just no travel.
Right. Just see how quick this Joanna girl is, the new girl, the young girl.
No, yeah. What's her deal?
She's really fast. She's really fast and really good.
Some of these names I don't know.
Yeah. So Joanna is. So she's gonna have some jet lag if we think that matters. Although she posted she's arriving today, I think. So she's got a week to settle in.
Okay.
But yeah, she is.
Did she crush all those Australia races or something?
Yeah. Okay. Like she raced elite. Her first race, she raced elite and like forgot to put on her chip, or her chip broke. So then she raced pro, or she raced open afterwards and won. And she's on a relay team that smashed records. And yeah, she's the real deal. And this is what we love. The sport is so young that there's still so many people we haven't seen yet. I mean, it's and we hope this happens like every year. There's people out there who are going to do their first race this year who've been, you know, hiding.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to see, you know, Nick Bear come out and do Dallas, which I'm very excited to see. He's extremely fit. I've been talking to him a little bit behind the scenes and kind of giving him advice and whatnot. And I think he's going to surprise some people in Dallas. I wouldn't be surprised to see him, honestly, potentially break 60 on his first go around. We'll see. We'll see how those wall balls do at the end.
Do you know, I don't even know how to say his name properly. Sam Cornier or Cornier. Everybody's going to hate
for the men or women.
So he's racing Toronto this weekend. He's on Froning's team that won games 2 years ago. And as an individual, he's been one of those, like, you know, 22 or 32, like you've never heard of him, but he's still 1% of the 1%.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, who knows? And I haven't talked to him. I reached out. It's one of these things with these CrossFitters. You can't tell if they're taking it serious. They're doing it because they just want to check out the buzz. Like, I have no idea how serious he is, but he's doing it. So I'm excited that these things keep popping. I'm definitely also really curious to see how Nick does. I haven't listened to that episode yet. It's been on my list of stuff to do, but I want to listen to that episode because Rich said it was great.
We're going out there. Rich and I are going out to Austin to hang out with him at the end of October.
Oh, nice.
Hop on his pod and do some training, and should be a good time.
I know this is not the only reason you're doing it, but that will probably help you guys a lot. Like, his audience is pretty big. So
yeah,
that'll do a lot. People who are interested in Hyrox, who are his audience, will, get coached,
100%.
Watch your content. Yeah. That's strategic.
The sport is growing, Matt. It's growing faster and bigger than I could have imagined.
Yeah, I've gone back and listened to a couple of podcasts, and it's kind of hilarious. I listened to Christian and I talk in 2020, and it's comical just because, he was talking about how big it would get, but we just didn't really know. You know what I mean? I remember when DEKA got launched. Remember when DEKA got launched, and it was like they called you, they called Corinna.
Yes.
What is this thing? Oh, because they offered you a bunch of money. Yeah. I know, and then they pulled it.
Yeah. So no, they're serious, man. They're a serious company, and I love that they treat the sports side of it, the way that they do, because I haven't gotten that feel from other organizations that I've participated in. Right. So it's nice to feel that, hey, like, they have the sports best interest in mind. And you just kind of I feel like I trust them in the direction that it's going. And yeah, it just feels good.
Yeah, we don't have any reason to think it's going to be like Spartan and the live coverage get worse, right? It's only going to get better as the sport grows and more sponsors come in, et cetera, et cetera.
Dude, I was at a track the other day. I was doing a workout at the track, and some kid was running, doing intervals or something, and he saw me doing like burpee broad jumps every 400 meters or 800 meters, and he was like, "Hey, what are you training for?" And I was like, "Oh, this sport called Hyrox." And he goes, "Do you know Dylan Scott?" And I'm like,
Do you know
"Yeah, I
me,
know Dylan
fool?
Scott." Right.
I'm a
Right. So I'm
major
like,
winner. You know me?
well, it turns out this kid went to Dylan Scott's high school and broke
Nice.
all of his cross country records. But he's like, yeah, I know what that is. So I mean, now it's just still you might talk to someone and they don't know what it is, but there might be a good chance that they've heard of Hyrox at this point.
Well, we're gonna get what, a dozen races this season. We get world champs. I mean, I think like,
Dude, let's go, dude. Chicago, like this is when that came out, man. I just love that venue. That venue has been very good to me. I've had some of my best performances inside the Navy Pier. So just knowing that there's going to be good vibes is very settling for me, and it definitely like amps up the intensity around just like, hey, like this could be the year. I don't have to worry about travel. I've got a venue that I like. It makes me want to go more all in, like knowing that it's going to be on home soil. So
yeah, I was so fucking thrilled when I found out. What do
because you
you?
haven't been, did you go to Vegas though?
I did go to Vegas. Yes,
Okay, that's right. You
Vegas
were in
was
Vegas. Yeah, yeah.
Vegas was the year that we went, drove up to Big Bear, and
That's
drove
right.
back
Right.
down. And again, even thinking about the sport then, like I didn't even talk to any of the international athletes. I'm like, they don't speak English. You know what I mean? Like I just, or I tried to, but you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't. It was so.
It's different. Yeah, yeah.
It's so different now. I'm sure I've asked you this before, but when you're on the track or you're on the trails, do you listen to music or you just like not music or
It
podcasts?
depends. It depends. If I am overstimulated from just anything, I've watched too much TV or whatever the case may be, hanging out with the kid, like if I just need to be in my thoughts, which is usually the case, I won't listen to anything. Um, on occasion, I will throw on like music or a podcast or something like that. But dude, it's so humid here that if you carry your phone with you when you run, it doesn't take but 10 minutes before you're so sweaty that like you can't even touch your phone like anymore after that. Like, or water starts to drip like into the where you plug it in, and it just becomes more trouble than it's worth. So most of the time I end up just leaving the phone behind.
You need a Roost Sport. That's what I've been using for a decade.
What's a Roost Sport? What's that?
I'm gonna go get it. Hang on. Free plug for Roost Sport. Hey, honey, can you give me my Roost Sport really quickly? Or in my house, we call it was the blue thing and now it's the red thing. So I've had these for over a decade. It's magnetic. I've had this one for a while. So it's magnetic. And you can throw a key
you put it in
here.
that bad boy?
Yeah. And you can have a key in it. You can put a car. I mean, you could put all kinds of gels. I never go for, I mean, if I'm going to go for a super long run, I'll put stuff in my pack. But yeah, throw a key and or a credit card. Now everybody takes Apple Pay, so you don't need that. And this just sticks on my hip. And
will sweat get through that though?
No, like dude. And I sweat a lot. I sweat a lot. My clothes are soaked. Anyway, yeah, it's pretty worn down. Roost Sports. Use code. I don't have a code for them. So I think that's a good place to wrap up. Let's tell people, speaking of codes, where to follow RMR.
Yeah. You can follow us on the RMR Training on Instagram. Myself, Meg Jacoby, Rich Ryan. We're a 3-woman team. And yeah, man, we're doing some pretty cool things. We're getting ready to change over the platform that we have had our app on. We've been on the Playbook app, and it hasn't been the best experience. So We've got everything moved, almost everything moved over to this new app called Strivey that we really, really love. So everything will kind of be migrating over to that, which is, it's going to be some work on everyone else's end to kind of shift over to that new platform. But I tell you, it's going to be night and day difference in just kind of like the user experience.
Most important question.
Yep.
Most important question. When is the East Coast training camp?
We don't have anything lined up, but we might be able.
You're supposed to say, Matt, we are 100% working on that now that I live on the East Coast.
Yeah, we got to think of something like that. We've thought about it in the past about moving the locations and doing more of them, because in Colorado you only have the summer months and everything else is just kind of unpredictable on like what the weather might do, even as early as September, all the way through April or May. So we have very limited time to do it in Colorado. But sure, man, I'd love to make this more of just like a business about it, where we're hosting these camps, all over the country. It'd be awesome.
I mean, I know you got Luca's house and that's a big draw, but we'd love to see you over here in the East Coast. Maybe I'll sign up.
We'll come to Matt's house. Come on, dude.
I have 3 children and how many bedrooms do we have? I have 3-bedroom house. So that's not a lot.
Just throw everyone in the living room and sleeping bags.
Yeah. What I'm working on, because I'm like you, my income like goes up and down. What I'm looking for is to build a little studio in the backyard. Because right now I'm here, right? I'm in the kitchen or dining room, and I go to co-working places and I go to the coffee shop. But I would love to have like the dream setup. Like most people want like the dream gym. I want the dream studio. And it's not like I'm going to spend that much money on equipment, like just having a nice Shure mic like the one you have, but just being able to go back in there, have a cool background. Although my wife's painting, my wife's art, which is also for
looks
sale.
Good. Yeah.
All right, dude. Good talk.
Yeah, man. It was good to hear from you.